Just when we thought it was over. Yes. Barbara's van's still here. She didn't quite leave with it today. It's still the same day she came and picked it up. But as she spoke about driving down the road, there were some issues with the brakes. When I came in early this morning before Barbara came to pick up the van, I actually took it out for a drive just to make sure everything was okay. Last thing we did was the brakes. Well, come to find out, the brake pedal was not feeling so great. So I tried to make it better. And I tried to make it better again. And I tried to make it better again. All fighting rusted bleeder valves and things that just, trust me, I said some choice words. Anyway, my solution, I need to bleed the rear brakes. In order to do that, I purchased some wheel cylinders that I'm going to replace back there. We're going to use this opportunity to replace those, continue fixing it forward, and hopefully this van will have a brake pedal. Once it does, we park it outside, let Barbara know she's going to come get it later tonight. All is right with the world. Let's get started. I'm going to take all four wheels off because I'm going to have to bleed all four wheels until we get a stinking brake pedal. So they're just all coming off again. Again, they've been off 4 times today. One day I'm going to be a real mechanic. Something about this van, it just, we've been having issues today. We have. Our relationship is kind of a little rocky at the moment. But we have something going for us. What do we have going for us? Well, we've already had these off. They've already been adjusted. And I found out what that squeaking noise was. My little nut and bolt setup is what came apart on those parking brakes. That's what that noise was when we were driving down the road. It sounded like something back here. Well, I'm gonna have to get me some lock washers or something if I can find all the parts. The odd thing is everything is still attached. Maybe I can just leave it be without the nuts and bolts, I don't know. It's still gotta move. Let's see what this side looks like. No, it's still together. The side's not loose at all. Well, these are the guys that we're going to replace. You don't have to remove all this stuff to replace them. Nope. You just need to undo this top spring. Once that's done, then we can actually just get this off, leaving everything intact. Often a good idea before you commit, make sure your parts will work. Yeah, these look like they're about the same thing. So yay. And it's not parts guys you don't trust so much, it's parts listings that are often the problem. I feel like 10 millimeters in the back. Oh, and by the way, I'm replacing these because I could not get the bleeder valves to come loose. I was having a heck of a time, so I was bleeding them at the line. But there's another problem. The line is rusted to the inside of the fitting. So whenever you twist the fitting, the whole line twists, and every time I'm like, please don't break, please don't break. So I'm going to show you a cool technique to get around this problem. So in a way, this all kind of works out. I'm able to, you know, make some lemonade here. If you remember from the other video, my angled pliers were the best option for removing the spring. At least I thought it was. Sorry, I didn't mean to like step right in your way, but I had to just do it. Just had to do it. And now you can see we can pull the shoes away from the wheel cylinder. Everything is still on here. We can work with just this. People have asked me about this very scenario in the past, and this is what I've suggested to them. Now, before I bust this thing off of here, I'm going to, just like I do on front brakes, take my vice grips with fuel line and crimp off the brake line back here so that we don't have this constant dripping. Weirdly, this one's got 2 different lines going to 2 different places. I don't want to get the ABS sensor involved here. Just going to crimp that right there. I've already taken a line loose from the wheel cylinder, and here I'll show you what I'm talking about. Watch the line when I twist this. See how the whole line, it's not supposed to do that. It's supposed to, when I do that, the line is supposed to be stationary and the fitting's supposed to twist around the outside. But like I said, we got a plan. So I'm just going to knock it loose a little bit now because it's still attached. It's easier to do now. If I've got it loose, I'm going to be fighting with it. If I guessed right, these are just 2 10 millimeters that hold this on. Did I guess right? Erica, would help if you put it on the fastener. Okay. All right. I guessed right. Really? Are you Got to be that way. What is it about this van? It's just not responding to treatment. All right, I'm gonna go get a 3/8 and a hammer and try starting with some penetrating oil. This is a 3/8 socket. It was a 10 millimeter that I had on there before. 3/8 and 10 millimeter are very close to one another. This may do the trick. Went on there awfully easy. All right. Yay. Now come on over here and I'll show you the trick. The wheel cylinder is loose from the backing plate. The line is loose on the wheel cylinder. Now I will pull the wheel cylinder through the backing plate and bend the line just a little bit. But rather than trying to turn the line out of the back of the wheel cylinder, I'm just going to turn the wheel cylinder off of the line. See, still accomplished the same thing. Cameraman Brian was saying, without destroying the brake line. Brake line destruction! That's the new band that we're starting. It's called Brake Line Destruction. All right, I'm gonna knock the bleeder valve loose before, and sometimes I've even gone so far as to just take them out. You don't need it, not right now. And it actually makes things a little easier. The other thing I do is give the cylinder a little squeeze. Sometimes they're sitting inside the bore for so long that they sort of get stuck in one spot, so I just sort of squeeze them in there, get them started. Now, the opposite of what we did to take it off. And oh. I wonder. All right, I'm gonna try to get the thread started because that was like 180 degrees off, and I fear that that is gonna be enough to completely offset the brake line. I fear that if I would have tried to tighten the brake line with it like it was, that it was gonna be a problem. Same stinking thing. See, I'm 180 degrees off. So, yeah, I've somehow got to turn this line a lot. This is a scenario that I have yet to run into, but of course, I ran into it today with this minivan, which just does not want to leave. All right. Plan B is I'm going to try to get this line to spin like it's supposed to. I have a plan for that. Vice grips. I'm going to squeeze the fitting in an attempt to break it loose from the brake line. And I'm going to do this at different locations around the circumference. So I'll try it here. I'll try it here. And the idea is to just try to get it to let go of that stinking brake line. It doesn't look like it's responding to treatment at all. Okay, it's not. So what do? I guess we try to split the difference. Okay, so let me just do this in my head. I'm twisting it on, and then I need to twist the line more. So if I twist the line this way first, then maybe, just maybe, would help if I was not trying to screw it into the bleeder. So I'm going to need to pull it this way. So I need to turn it this way. I don't like this at all. I really don't. I just don't feel like putting a brake line on this today. Or one of the fasteners in here. Did I mention it was really hot and humid today? So like, just walking around the shop, you're sweating profusely. You have days like that. Well, that is, unless you work in a comfy air-conditioned shop. Some people do that. I hear stories. Okay. Please don't break, please don't break. I think we're there. I dare not anymore. Like I said, that's the first time I've ever run into this, where I was 180 degrees off. I'm usually a little bit off one way or the other, and I can twist it in, but that's the first time I've ever had to do it 180 degrees off. If the brake line is more rusty than this one was, there may be no hope. Okay, let's put the bleeder in. This is something I sort of do, is I'll just leave this loose. And then I'm going to take my vice grips away and just let the thing drip. It's called gravity bleeding. And when I see it start to drip out of the bleeder valve, I know to stop back over and close it off. Helps save a little time. I'm not going to bother with the adjustment. I just did it. I mean, I literally just did it. So I'm good with the adjustment where it is. We're going to repeat the process on the other side, hopefully minus the whole 180 degree out thing. Onward. Removing the spring. Preemptive strike with penetrating oil. Knocking the line loose. Thank you for not being a problem this time. And pulling the wheel cylinder through. Remove my bleeder just like I did on the other side. And some wheel cylinders have a left and a right. They'll be marked like that, but usually it's the bleeder valve that says what side goes to what. So pay attention to how that's angled and if you have access to it after you install it. If not, you might regret it. Better, much better. Where are we? Yeah, we just have to go a wee bit farther on this one. Just put one final snug on the line. Good. Now the bleeder valve, vice grips. I'm gonna put the brakes back together, and I'm not gonna put that bolt back in. It came out and it kind of got stripped a little bit. The parking brake is still in place like it's supposed to be. I'm gonna wait until that's a problem before I actually have to deal with it. Because if the parking brake goes, so what? It's not the end of the world. But if I've got chunks of stuff floating around in the brakes, that's a problem. I don't want that. That's a tough spring. And this one, we got a spring that holds the spring. Let's bleed some brakes. I just thought of something taking this old wheel cylinder off. How about inspecting the wheel cylinders to see if they're even bad to begin with? Simple enough. Just take a pocket screwdriver or equivalent, slip it under the boot, make several attempts to pull it back. But if you pull this back and you see fluid coming out, the wheel cylinder is bad. The internal seals have leaked out. This on the outside is just a dust cover. You check both sides. But these wheel cylinders weren't bad. It was a bleeder valve that was stuck. That was my problem. And whenever the caps are left off, it gets all rusty and you can even see the junk down inside there. I could have messed with this all day, but honestly, I got 2 wheel cylinders for less than 20 bucks. Yeah, this van is pretty tight up on the lift. Brian is much smaller than myself. Thankfully. Now Brian will roll down the passenger side window so that we can hear each other and communicate during the bleeding procedure.
Yeah, I don't want to hear you.
I wouldn't want to hear me either. I've set it up so that I can remove all 4 wheels, so that I can bleed all 4 wheels as long as I'm here. The entire reason for all of this is because I got some air trapped in the system that must leave. Might as well do all 4 wheels and make sure. Also, I've made sure that the master cylinder is topped off before I begin the procedure, because we do not want our master cylinder running dry. If it does, it will make our lives way more difficult. There are many philosophies on the quote-unquote appropriate bleeding procedure, what wheels to start with and such. Some people go by the wheel that's furthest from the master cylinder, which is this one, in this case, which would be the right rear. It can vary. The actual Honda bleeding procedure, which I've talked about in the past, actually starts with the closest to the master cylinder, which is the left front. As long as you get the air out, no big deal. Well, we removed these wheel cylinders, and they're obviously going to be full of air. And gosh darn it, I'm going to try to make it so that I can use my bleeder bottle. And one of the reasons, well, the reason I want to use my bleeder bottle is because I can actually watch the air going through the tube. All right, Brian, pump them up. Hold it. See the air? We're going to keep doing that until all we get is fluid. All right, pump it up. Hold it. Down. Pump it up. Hold it. Down. Pump it up. Hold it. Down. Pump it up. Hold it. Now. There's the air that we've been looking for. Pump it up. Hold it. Now. Pump it up. Hold it. Now. A little bit more. Pump it up. Hold. Now. Pump it up. Hold. Down. Pump it up. Hold. Down. All right, we're not seeing any air coming out of this one. Let's jump to the other side, see where we're at. We're gonna do the same thing on this side. All right, pump it up. Hold.
Yeah.
Pump it up. Hold. I don't know what I'm getting caught on. Pump it up.
Yeah.
All right. There's nothing else coming out of back here. We'll do the fronts, start it up, recheck it, and then hopefully take it for a drive with a nice firm brake pedal. I bled a lot of fluid out of the rear just to be safe. I'm going to top off the master before I do the fronts. I'm glad I did this because the master cylinder is about halfway down. Looks like Barbara's also getting a brake fluid change. Right, here we are, right front wheel. Same procedure. Pump it up. Hold.
Yeah.
Pump it up. Hold.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, there's no air coming out of up here at all. We've got to do our final one, which, well, as we know, we have to bleed at the line. You're learning all kinds of tricks today. All right, pump it up. Hold.
Down.
Pump it up. Hold.
Down.
Pump it up. Hold.
Down.
How's that feel?
Night and day from this morning.
It is better than it was this morning, but you're not done yet. Make sure you start the engine and check the brake pedal. Also know that when you have the wheels off, the brakes may not be centered like these aren't. These rotors are held down by the wheels in the front, so that can cause them to flop around a little bit. That'll give it a little bit of slop. Same with the drums in the rear, just a little bit. But with brakes, kind of a little bit counts. So I'm gonna have Brian start the engine, recheck the pedal, see how it feels then. If it still feels good, we're gonna get everything closed up, put our bleeder caps and all that stuff back on. Put the wheels on, take it for a drive, make sure it's good, and get this van back to Barbara. Cameraman Brian, start your engine. I don't like that look.
You're not gonna like how these feel.
All right, well, we're gonna try bleeding with the engine running this time. See what we can get. FYI, if you gotta do one of these jobs, be the guy in the car with the air conditioning. Just saying, guy or girl. All right, pump it up. Hold it. These are like the most difficult bleeders ever. Pump it up. Hold. How's it feel now? You're not telling me what I want to hear, Brian. At this point, we've bled it out and bled it out. I'm seeing clear fluid come out everywhere. No more air bubbles. I was getting some every once in a while, but I mean, the fluid that's coming out is clear. So I know from the master cylinder back, I've got new fluid in the system. So I'm gonna put the wheels back on, take it for a drive, and honestly hope for the best. So far, better. A lot better. I've got a solid when I step on the brakes now. Let's take it for a ride down the road. Got a more solid feel to it than I did the first time I took it out. Shush about my rubber gloves. They're full of sweat. I'd rather not put sweaty hands on here. Better. Can't seem to lock them up though. But I haven't, and I hadn't driven it before, so I don't know what normal is. stops. I'm getting some lock up now. There we go. All right, I'm good. Huh. Okay, we can bid this one goodbye. Yeah, we're stopping now. That wasn't happening before. It would take like a long time. All right. Oh, it's checking. It's still checking. Let's go back to the shop and just say goodbye to Barbara's van. That made for something of a stressful day. I was hoping that Barbara would drive this van away today, and she will. She'll just have to come back later to do it. But she'll do it knowing that when she hits that brake pedal, it's gonna stop. It's kind of important. I did mess with the brakes. I'd feel pretty bad if something happened, so I'm glad we squared this away. And 2 new wheel cylinders, what's that gonna hurt? More new parts for the Chrysler. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little amendum to the Fixing It Forward 1998 Chrysler Town Country. We're gonna bid it goodbye. Move on to the next project. Should be fun and interesting. But anyway, Barbara will be able to do her good work now in comfort, and also she'll be able to drive backwards. All good things. Hey, if you have automotive questions, please head over to EricTheCarGuy.com. Welcome video there to tell you about what can help you with your automotive questions. If you wish to connect with me socially, I can be found on Google+, Facebook, Twitter, and now Instagram. Close each of my videos with be safe, have fun, stay dirty, and keep fixing it forward. I will see you next time.